I was sitting in a lawyer's office holding a cashier's check for $1.8 million when my phone buzzed with a text from my eldest son. It said, "Mum, don't deposit that check yet. I have a better plan for the money." I stared at the screen for a long time. He did not even know I had the check yet. The house closing was supposed to be private. I had not told anyone it happened today. So how did he know? Let me start from the beginning. My name is Margaret. People who love me call me Maggie. I am 64 years old. I taught high school English for 38 years in the same school district outside Philadelphia. I taught thousands of kids how to write essays, how to read poetry, how to think for themselves. I retired last June. My husband, Walter, passed away 3 years ago from a heart attack while mowing the lawn on a Saturday morning. 1 minute he was alive. The next minute he was gone. Just like that. No warning. No goodbye. After he died, the house felt too big. 4 bedrooms. A basement he turned into a workshop. A backyard with a garden he planted every spring. I would walk through the rooms and hear echoes of a life that was not coming back. So I decided to sell. The market was strong. The realtor said we could list high. She was right. The house sold for $1.85 million to a young couple expecting twins. I liked them. They reminded me of Walter and me 40 years ago. I have 3 children. My eldest, Kevin, is 41. He works in commercial real estate. Or at least he says he does. His wife, Diana, has expensive taste and strong opinions about everything. My middle child, Patrick, is 38. He lives in Denver. Quiet. Independent. Calls me every Sunday without fail. My youngest, Nora, is 33. She is the one everyone in the family calls the wild card. She dropped out of college, bartended for years, then went back to school at 28 and became a nurse. People underestimate Nora. That is their mistake. The plan was simple. Sell the house. Split the money 3 ways after I kept enough for myself to live comfortably. Fair. Clean. Done. But nothing in this family has ever been simple. The morning of the closing, I woke up early and drove to the lawyer's office alone. I signed the papers. The buyer's agent handed me the check. I held it carefully like it might disappear. $1. 85 millions. 37 years of mortgage payments. Walter's overtime shifts. My summer tutoring jobs. All of it distilled into a single piece of paper. I sat in my car in the parking lot and cried. Not because I was sad, because Walter should have been there. He would have looked at that check and said, "Maggie, let's go get pancakes." That was his answer to everything good. Pancakes. Then my phone buzzed. Kevin's text. "Mum, don't deposit that check yet. I have a better plan for the money." I did not respond. Instead, I drove to the bank and deposited the check into my personal account. Whatever Kevin's plan was, it could wait until the money was safe. That evening, I drove to Kevin's house for dinner. He had invited the whole family, which should have been my first clue. Kevin does not host dinners unless he wants something. His house is beautiful, 5 bedrooms in the suburbs. Pool in the back, 3-car garage. Diana decorated every room like a magazine cover. But I noticed things. The lawn service sign was gone. The usual fresh flowers on the dining table were replaced with grocery store carnations. Small things. But I am a teacher. I noticed details. Diana greeted me at the door with a hug that lasted a beat too long. "Maggie, you look wonderful." She never calls me Maggie. She calls me Margaret. Or more often, nothing at all. Kevin appeared behind her. Big smile. "Mum, come in. I made your favorite pot roast." Kevin has never made pot roast in his life. Patrick was already inside, sitting on the couch, scrolling his phone. He stood up and hugged me. "Hey, Mum. How'd the closing go?" "It went fine," I said carefully. "All done." Nora arrived last, still in her scrubs. She looked tired. She kissed my cheek and whispered, "Something feels weird tonight." I squeezed her hand. She felt it too. We sat down for dinner. The pot roast was dry. Diana poured wine for everyone and made small talk about her yoga class. Kevin kept checking his phone under the table. Patrick ate quietly. Nora watched Kevin like a hawk. After dinner, Kevin cleared his throat. "So, Mum, now that the house is officially sold, I think we should talk about the money." "Of course," I said. "I was planning to sit down with all 3 of you this weekend." "Well, we're all here now," Kevin said quickly. "No reason to wait." He pulled out a folder. A folder. He had prepared documents. I've been talking to some people, he said. There's an incredible investment opportunity through a development fund. Commercial properties in the Sunbelt, 12 to 15% annual return. If we pool the full amount, we could double it within 5 years. I looked at the folder. I did not open it. Pool the full amount, I repeated slowly. Meaning all $1.85 million? It makes the most sense, Kevin said. Splitting it 3 ways, you're only looking at around $600,000 each. But if we invest it together, we're looking at serious wealth. Patrick shifted in his chair. Kevin, Mom just sold her house today. Maybe give her a minute. Diana jumped in. Patrick, Kevin has been researching this for months. This is a real opportunity. I looked at Nora. She was staring at Kevin with her arms crossed. Who manages this fund? Nora asked. Kevin hesitated. A colleague of mine. Very reputable. What's his name? Nora pressed. You wouldn't know him. Try me. Kevin's jaw tightened. His name is Greg Holloway. He runs Pinnacle Development Partners. Nora pulled out her phone and started typing. Kevin's face changed. You don't need to Google him right now. If he's reputable, there's nothing to worry about, Nora said without looking up. The table went quiet. I could feel the tension like humidity before a storm. I spoke calmly. Kevin, I appreciate you thinking about this. Let me review the documents and we can talk later this week. Kevin leaned forward. Mom, the window closes Friday. If we don't commit by then, we lose the spot. Friday. That was 3 days away. A $1.85 million decision in 3 days. Then I'll review them tonight, I said with a smile that did not reach my eyes. I took the folder home. I spread the papers across my kitchen table and read every single page. I taught kids how to analyze texts for 38 years. I know how to read between lines. The documents looked professional, glossy headers, impressive charts. But I noticed things. The fund's registration number led to a Delaware LLC created only 4 months ago. The projected returns had no methodology section. The guaranteed minimum language had an asterisk that led to a footnote saying past performance is not indicative of future results, and the signature page required me to designate Kevin as the authorized representative for all transactions. Not me. Kevin. My hands went cold. I read that line again. The undersigned hereby appoints Kevin Mitchell as sole managing representative with full authority to direct, transfer, and liquidate fund assets. I would be handing Kevin complete control over my money, over all of our money. And once I signed, I would need his permission to touch it. I sat back in my chair. The kitchen was quiet. The house I was leaving in 2 weeks felt like it was listening. I picked up the phone and called Nora. She answered on the first ring. I was waiting for you to call. What did you find? I asked. Greg Holloway, she said. Pinnacle Development Partners. There's almost nothing online. No reviews, no track record. The website was built 2 months ago. And Mum, I found something else. Tell me. Greg Holloway and Kevin's wife are cousins. My stomach dropped. Diana's cousin. This was not some independent investment opportunity Kevin discovered through work. This was a family scheme. There's more, Nora said quietly. I didn't want to say this at dinner. Patrick told me something last month. Kevin and Diana are in serious financial trouble. They refinanced their house twice. Kevin's business hasn't closed a deal in over a year. Diana's spending hasn't slowed down. Patrick thinks they might be close to foreclosure. Foreclosure? My son, the one with the 5-bedroom house and the pool, the one who made pot roast for the first time in his life. Mom, Nora said gently, I think Kevin is trying to use your money to bail himself out. I closed my eyes. Walter's voice echoed in my memory. Maggie, trust your gut. Your gut's smarter than most people's heads. Thank you, Nora, I said. I need to make some calls tomorrow. I did not sleep that night. I kept thinking about Kevin as a little boy. He used to bring me dandelions from the yard and call them flowers. He used to fall asleep on my lap during thunderstorms. When did he become someone who would prepare documents to take his mother's money? The next morning, I called my financial advisor, Ruth Chen. She has managed my retirement accounts for 12 years. I told her everything. She listened without interrupting. Margaret, she said firmly, do not sign anything. That signature page is essentially a power of attorney disguised as an investment form. If you sign that, Kevin controls everything. Can we protect the money? I asked. We can move it into a trust today. Your name only. No joint access. No representative authority. I'll have the paperwork ready by noon. By lunchtime, my $1.85 million was sitting in a protected trust that only I could access. I also called a lawyer. Not the real estate lawyer. A different one. An estate attorney named David Park, who came recommended by Ruth. If your son tries to pressure you into signing, David said, that could constitute financial elder abuse under Pennsylvania law. Elder abuse. The word stung. My own son. I'm not ready to go there yet, I said. But I want to be prepared. That's smart, David replied. Let's document everything from this point forward. Kevin called me that afternoon. His voice was cheerful but tight. Mum, did you get a chance to look at the documents? I did, I said calmly. I have some questions. Great. Diana and I can come over tonight and walk you through everything. No, I said. I'd rather meet at your office. Tomorrow afternoon. There was a pause. My office? You said this is a business opportunity. Let's discuss it in a business setting. He agreed. But I could hear the hesitation. That evening Nora came over. She brought Thai food and sat with me at the kitchen table. How are you feeling? She asked. Angry, I admitted. And sad. Mostly sad. She reached across the table and held my hand. You don't have to do this alone. I know, I said. But I need Kevin to see that I'm not confused. I'm not too old to understand what's happening. He needs to hear it from me. Nora nodded. I'll be there if you need me. The next afternoon, I drove to Kevin's office. It was in a shared workspace building, not the private suite he always described. His office was a desk in a room with 6 other desks. Half of them were empty. Kevin stood up when I walked in. Mum, let's go to the conference room. We sat across from each other. The folder was on the table between us. I reviewed everything, I said. I have questions. Of course, he said, smiling. Why does the signature page give you sole authority over the funds? His smile flickered. That's standard. Someone has to be the point of contact. Why not me? It's my money. Mum, you're retired. You don't want to deal with fund managers and quarterly reports. Kevin, I managed a school department budget for 15 years. I balanced your father's business accounts every month. I deal with numbers just fine. He shifted in his chair. It's just easier this way. Easier for whom? Silence. I opened my purse and pulled out a printed page. Greg Holloway is Diana's cousin. Kevin's face went pale. Pinnacle Development Partners was registered 4 months ago, I continued calmly. There is no track record. No independent auditor. No third-party verification of the projected returns. Mom, it's a new fund. That doesn't mean it's bad. Kevin, I said quietly. Are you in financial trouble? His jaw clenched. Who told you that? It doesn't matter who told me. Answer the question. He stared at the table for a long time. When he looked up, his eyes were glassy. The market crashed our last 3 deals, he said. Diana doesn't know how bad it is. We're behind on the mortgage. The cars are leased. I've been floating credit cards for 6 months. My heart broke. Not because of the money, because my son was drowning, and instead of asking for help, he built a trap. So this fund, I said gently, was it real? He hesitated. Greg said if we brought in enough capital, he could make it work. Kevin, that's not how legitimate investments work. I know, he whispered. I know. What were you going to do with my money? He couldn't look at me. Pay off the house, cover the debts, put the rest in Greg's fund and hope it grew. Hope, I repeated. You were going to gamble my retirement on hope. He put his hands over his face. I didn't know what else to do. I sat there watching my 41-year-old son fall apart in a shared office space, and I thought about all the essays I graded over the years where students wrote about making mistakes. I always told them the same thing. The mistake is not the end of the story. What you do next is what matters. Kevin, I said. Look at me. He looked up. I love you, but I am not going to sign those papers. Not today. Not ever. His shoulders dropped. I figured, your father left me that house. 37 years of our life together are in that check. I will not hand control of it to anyone, not even my own son. He nodded slowly. I understand, but I am not going to watch you lose everything either. He looked confused. Here is what is going to happen, I said. You are going to tell Diana the truth. All of it. Tonight. Then you are going to call a financial counselor. Not Greg. A real one. You are going to make a plan to dig out of this the right way. And if we can't, he asked quietly, then you sell the house and start smaller. There is no shame in that. Your father and I started in a one-bedroom apartment with a leaking faucet and a mattress on the floor. Kevin wiped his eyes. Dad would be so disappointed in me. No, I said softly. Your father would be disappointed that you tried to fix this with a lie. But he would be proud that you stopped. We sat together in that conference room for a long time. Neither of us spoke. Sometimes silence says more than words. That evening, Kevin told Diana everything. I know this because Diana called me at 11 o'clock at night, crying hysterically. Margaret, did you know about the mortgage? I found out yesterday, I said. He lied to me, she sobbed. He said everything was fine. He lied to all of us, I replied calmly. But lying stops now. The next few weeks were chaos. Diana was furious. She threatened to leave Kevin. Patrick flew in from Denver to help mediate. Nora, who everyone had always called the mess of the family, turned out to be the calmest person in the room. She sat with Kevin and Diana and helped them list every debt. She found a financial counselor through the hospital where she worked. She organized a family meeting at my kitchen table. At that meeting, Kevin stood up and said something I will never forget. I want to apologize to all of you, he said. Especially you, Mom. I looked at your money and saw my solution. I didn't see your sacrifice. I didn't see Dad's overtime. I didn't see your 38 years of teaching. I just saw a number, and I thought I deserved part of it because I was desperate. Diana spoke next. I pushed Kevin to maintain a lifestyle we couldn't afford. That's on me too. Patrick, quiet as always, said, We're family. We fix this together. But we fix it honestly. Nora looked at me and smiled. She didn't need to say anything. I stood up slowly. Here is what I have decided, I said. I am keeping $600,000 for myself. That is my retirement, my security, my future. Nobody touches it. Everyone nodded. The remaining $25 million will be divided, but not equally and not without conditions. Kevin looked nervous. Patrick, you will receive $400,000. You've never asked me for anything. You've built your life with your own hands. This is my gift to you. Patrick's eyes filled with tears. Mom, you don't have to. I want to, I said. Nora, you will receive $400,000. You went back to school when everyone doubted you. You became a nurse. You took care of your father when he was sick. You took care of me when I was grieving. This is yours. Nora pressed her lips together, trying not to cry. Kevin, I said, and the room went still. I will set aside $450,000 in a structured account. It will pay off your mortgage and your credit card debt directly. I'm not giving you cash. The payments will go straight to your creditors. And there is one condition. He swallowed. What condition? You and Diana attend financial counseling for 1 full year. If you complete it, the remaining balance is yours to keep. If you quit, the unused funds come back to me. Diana grabbed Kevin's hand. He looked at me with something I had not seen in his eyes in a long time. Not greed. Not desperation. Respect. Thank you, Mom, he said. Don't thank me, I replied. Earn it. A month later, I moved into a 2-bedroom apartment near the river. It was small and quiet. The windows faced east, so I got morning sunlight the way Walter always liked. I hung his photo in the hallway. Every morning when I walked past it, I said, Good morning, sweetheart. I booked a trip to Italy. Just me. 2 weeks in Tuscany. When I told the kids, Nora said, Send us pictures of everything. Patrick said, Eat extra pasta for me. Kevin said, You deserve it, Mom. The morning I left for the airport, I stood at the door of my new apartment and looked around. It was nothing like the house where I raised 3 children. It was smaller, simpler, quieter, but it was mine. Fully mine. I thought about that text message Kevin sent me. Mum, don't deposit that check yet. I have a better plan for the money. He thought I would listen. He thought I was too trusting, too old-fashioned, too tired after 38 years of grading papers and packing lunches to question a glossy folder full of promises. He was wrong, and here is what I learned. And I hope it stays with you. Love your children, but do not let love make you blind. Trust the people around you, but always read the fine print. Growing older does not mean growing weaker. It means you have seen enough to know when something is not right. I spent my whole career teaching kids to think critically. Turns out, the most important lesson I ever taught was the one I gave myself. When something feels wrong, stop, read carefully, ask questions, and never be afraid to say no, even to the people you love the most. Because your worth is not measured by how much you give away. It is measured by how well you know what you deserve. And at 64 years old, I finally knew exactly what I deserved. Peace, respect, and pancakes in Tuscany, just the way Walter would have wanted. If this story touched something in you, if you have ever had to stand your ground when the people closest to you tried to take more than they earned, leave a comment and tell me what you would have done. Like this video, subscribe to Silver's revenge story so you never miss the next journey, because life keeps testing us, and the strongest thing you can do is not fight back. It is to stand still, look them in the eye, and say, "No, this is mine."